Alright, so what we're going to look at today is the letters are going away. There's no more letters. I mean, they're going to come back for the quiz, but the next 2 days we're going to focus on can you graph a picture and can you classify it as one of our 5 quadrilaterals that we learned first semester. So let's just review the major things you need to know for all 5. So for a parallelogram, it has to have 2 pairs of parallel sides. That's why it's called a parallelogram. So we're going to look at slope. Okay, we're going to look at slope. For a rectangle, it has 4 what kind of angles? It has 4 right angles. So we're going to look for perpendicular slopes. For a rhombus, it has to have, rhombus is the tricky one. What kind of sides? All the sides are the same. So it has 4 congruent sides. So we're going to look at distance. A square is if a rhombus and a rectangle had a baby. So it has 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. And then the last one's the tricky one, a trapezoid. We just want 1 pair of parallel sides. I don't know why it's fuzzy. So what we're going to do today, we're really not going to do midpoint at all. We're going to graph a picture, 4-sided figure, and then we're going to use distance and slope to try and figure out which of these 5 is it. And then we got to label it. Okay? So first thing you want to do is, in this picture here, we need to plot J, K, L, and M. Notice the scale of the x-axis. What do I have to count by? 2's. You got to count by 2's on the x, 1 on the y. So for J, I'm going to go over -4, or really 2, up 2. So plot J, K, L, and M. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Okay. Just by looking at the picture, what 4-sided figure do you think this is? Rhombus. Parallelogram. Somebody second hour said, I don't know. I said, that's okay. So how are we going to classify it? We're going to fill in a table. Now on your homework and on the quizzes, the table will be like blank. Because these are notes, we're going to fill it in together. So you're going to write the distance. You're going to find the distance of all 4 sides and the slope of all 4 sides. So distance and slope. Now here's the thing. We can use the formulas, but they end up taking kind of a while. I'm going to show you a shortcut because we have a picture that will help you. So if I'm looking at the beginning, if I'm looking from J to K, I'm actually going to find the slope first. Because can you count slope from J to K using rise over run? How much from J to K, how much up do I go? I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know what you're looking at. So I go up 6. I go how much over to the right? 2. So my slope there is what? 3. Now, distance and slope are related. Do you see how on our formulas there's x2 minus x1 in both, y2 minus y1 in both? So my shortcut for the distance is to take my non-simplified slope and square those numbers. So my distance is going to be the square root of 6 squared plus 2 squared. It's almost like making a little triangle and doing Pythagorean theorem.
Get the distance.
I'm taking these two numbers and squaring them and adding them together. The trick is with the shortcut, you have to use the non-simplified fraction. Because once I get to 3, that would give me the square root of 10. And it doesn't work. So you got to use the original, what you counted. So what's my distance here? Square root of 40. You do not have to simplify your distance. Unless it's like square root of 36 or something. You can just leave it. You don't have to put it in simplified radical form. You do not have to give me a decimal. So we're done for that one. Now I'm going to look from K to L. So do slope first. So rise over run. So from K to L, I go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's -4. I go to the right 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I'm counting by 2s because my scale is by 2. What is this reduced to? -1/3. If you can't reduce it in your head, remember what can you hit in your calculator? Hit the math button, fraction. Okay. Do you see how these are opposite reciprocal slopes? So really, angle K is a right angle, even though it doesn't look like it. Now let's do distance formula. So take the two numbers before we simplified. Square root of -4 squared plus 12 squared. -4 squared, 12 squared, square root of 160. So this should also tell you right away it's not a square, because these two are not the same. But I have a right angle, so it's probably a rectangle. Yes, Richard?
Where do you get the right angle from?
These are opposite reciprocal slopes. 3 and -1/3.
Where are you getting the slopes?
I'm just counting. Let's go LM. Watch me do L to M. So L to M, I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So down 6. To the left, 2. Because these are by 2s. Remember, whenever you go to the left, it's a negative. So what's -6 divided by -2? +3. Katie, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Then take your non-simplified and make that your distance formula. -6 squared, -2 squared. Just remember, distance is always positive. So even if it's a negative number in there, when you square it, it becomes positive. So what's my answer? Square root of 40. Okay, last one is M to J. So M to J, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. But I go to the left 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So that's -12. So what is this reduced to? -1/3 again. So then my distance is 4 squared plus -12 squared, so square root of 160. This question on on your quiz would be 11 points. 8 points for the table. A point for the picture. Then you got to give me what is it and why. So it looked like, we didn't know what it looked like, but all of these are right angles because they're all opposite reciprocal slopes. So this is actually a rectangle because you have 4 right angles. Because 3 and 1/3, -1/3 are opposite reciprocal slopes. Okay. The reason it doesn't look like a rectangle It's because we changed the scale of the x-axis without changing the scale of the y-axis. So it kind of like shrunk it in a weird way. So it doesn't look like a rectangle, but it's a rectangle. So 11 points. 8, 9, 10, 11. This is all we're doing today. Same process, different answer. Questions so far? We're going to do 2 more. We're actually going to skip B. Skip B. You're going to have a similar one in your homework, so I'd rather you just try it in your homework. So skip B. Go right to C. So skip B, go to C. C, we're going to graph A, B, C, D. But do you notice the points in the graph don't really match up? So let's plot this whole thing. Let's make everything go by 2s. So A is going to be negative 8, 4. I'm going to go, everything's going to be by 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4. And I think on the quiz I try to make it so you don't have to change the scale. Or I'll tell you what the scale is. So what is that? Just looking at that picture, what do you think it is? It looks like a square, right? But you guys know what a square looks like. You learned it in like elementary school. So we need some math behind, is it a square? So again, we're going to do distance. We always do distance and slope. And the reason I'm writing it like this is because this is the way it looks on the homework. With distance first, then slope. Even though I make you do slope first, then distance. Okay, so start alphabetically. I'm just going to go from A to B first. So count, rise over run. From A to B, you go up 2. From A to B, I go up 2 over how much? Over 8 to the right. That reduces to what? 1/4. Again, take your non-reduced answer, make that your distance formula. So distance here is the square root of 2 squared plus 8 squared. Which gives me what? Square root of 68. Close. Somebody last hour said 70. Make sense? Now we're going to go from B to C. So B to C, I go down 2, 4, 6, 8. That's negative 8. Over to the right 2. So negative 8 over 2 is negative 4. So right away, those two are opposite reciprocal slopes. That tells me angle B is a right angle. Then my distance is negative 8 squared plus 2 squared, which turns into 68 again. So because right now we already have 2 sides that are the same, this is probably going to be a square. But we got to finish it. So C to D, count. I go down 2 to the left, 2, 4, 6, 8. So negative 2, negative 8 turns into positive 1/4. Thank you, Arsh. So my distance is negative 2 squared, negative 8 squared. So square root of... So it ends up kind of being... It gets a little bit easier as you keep going. After the first couple, you should kind of have an idea of maybe what it is. And then D to A, I go up 2, 4, 6, 8. and I go to the left 2, so that's negative. Negative 4. So then my distance is 8 squared, negative 2 squared, so squared is 68 again. So let's label this and tell me a reason why. This one's the hard one because there's 2 reasons. What is it? So it's a square because we have 4 congruent sides. They're all the square root of 60. Now, if you get 3 congruent sides and one's different, you screwed something up. And then we have 4 right angles because we have opposite reciprocal slopes. Make sense? This is all we're doing the next 2 days. I'm trying to give you an idea of all the different kinds. So we are going to do D. First of all, with D, it's the only one you do not have to change the scale. So you can just plot A, B, C, D like normal. So you can plot this one like normal. What does that shape look like? Somebody first hour said a diamond.
I said
A diamond is really like a rhombus. It doesn't look like it has right angles. Okay, well let's figure it out. So, again, distance and slope. And like I said on your homework and on the quiz and stuff, the table, let me show you what it looks like. The table will be there. You just got to fill it in. So, distance and slope. So, start with AB. So, rise over. Now, if you can't see the rise over the run, because it's like too small, you can always make like a little triangle with your pencil. And that sometimes helps. So, from A to B, I'm going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, that's negative 5. To the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So negative 5/9. I can't reduce that. So my distance is negative 5 squared plus 9 squared. So negative 5 squared, 9 squared. 106. Thank you. So square root of 106. B to C. I'm going to go down. Again, I can make it a little triangle. I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's negative. Left 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Negative. What's a negative become? So we get positive 5/9 and negative 5/9 as my slope. Those are not opposite reciprocals, they're just opposites. So I don't have right angles. If they're just opposites, you don't have right angles. But my distance is going to be negative 5 squared, negative 9 squared. So it'll end up being square root of 106. So it's looking like it's going to be a rhombus. C to D, I go up 5, to the left 9, so I get negative 5/9 again. So you see how it kind of gets easier as you go? Let you kind of figure out. So that's 106 again. And then D to A, up 5, to the right 9, so positive 5/9. So 5 squared, 9 squared. Everybody always forgets to put the square root. Don't forget to put the square root. So then, what this picture is, this is a rhombus. Because the only thing you know is it has 4 congruent sides.
How do you know what shape it is?
What we wrote here. So if you just remember these big guys.
I thought you were just making up random shapes in your head.
No, these guys.
Okay, I get it.
It's going to be one of these 5.
Okay.
For sure. Makes sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
When does our quiz test